Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a normal Pendulum deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an extremely unique deck that's one of my favorite Pendulum decks to play in the entire game because you get to play so many different types of monsters. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell next to become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like in your name description of a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Fire Opalhead. This card is definitely a 3 out of the build because this card is actually a scale 0, so you can summon out basically any monster you want to your side of the field using this card in a high scale, which is really cool. But this card is also a level 6 dinosaur type monster, making it super easy to step into cards like Evil Czar Lars. We then play 3 copies of Lance. Lance is really cool as a 3F in the deck. This card is actually a scale 7. It has a pendulum effect that if a no monster you control attacks a defensive monster, it inflicts piercing battle damage to your opponent, which is really interesting about this deck that even though there are no monsters, they still have effects when they're in the pendulum scale. We then play 2 copies of Dragon Horn Hunter. Dragon Horn Hunter is great as a 2-up in the build because this card makes it so all normal monsters we control gain 200 attack points, and also we take no battle damage from battles involving normal monsters that we control, which is a great effect to be able to use to basically make it so we don't have to worry about battle damage. We then play 3 copies of Sky Dragoons of Draconia. This card is great as a 3-out in the build, just always pop cards on the field because it has the effect that once per turn, when a no monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can actually target one card on the field and destroy it, which is an awesome ability to be able to use just to help you pop cards on the field. This card is one of those powerful cards in the entire deck because you can just pop cards on the field with its effect. We then play a single copy of Cannon. Cannon is great as a 1-out build, just to help us pop spells and traps on the field. We then play 3 copies of Dragoons of Draconia. Dragoons of Draconia is really cool as a 3-out in the deck, because this card has a great pendulum effect that once per turn, if a no monster you control destroys an opponent's monster by battle, after damage calculation you can add a level 4 or higher normal monster from your deck to your hand, which is an awesome ability to grab any of our pendulum monsters that we need. We then play 3 copies of Flash Knight. Flash Knight is really cool as a 3-of because this card is a scale 7, which is great to be able to use in the deck, plus it has 1800 attack points. We then play 2 copies of Master Pendulum. Master Pendulum is really interesting in the deck as a 2-of because this card actually has 1950 attack points, which is actually really large for a summon in this deck, and it also has the ability at once, while this card's in the Pendulum Zone, you can target one card in your Pendulum Zone and destroy it, which is a really cool effect to help you basically fix your Pendulum scales. We then play 2 copies of Magical Libra. This card is great as a 2-of in the deck. This card is actually a tuner, which just helps us step into a bunch of really cool synchro plays, and it's an amazing 2-of in the build. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start off with our Primite card, starting off with Drill Beam. This card is really good as a 1-of in the deck to help you spot remove cards off the field, as this card lets you reveal a Primite card or a normal monster in your hand, except a copy of Drill Beam, and also if you control a normal monster or a level 5 or higher Primite monster, except a token, you can activate this effect without revealing a card. Then you get to target a face-up card on the field and negate its effect, and if you do, banish it, which is a really cool effect to help you basically spot remove a card off the field. We then play 2 copies of Primite Roar. Roar is basically like Unexpected Die, which is great to be able to use because you pay 2,000 life points, declare no monster card's name, and then the declared no monster and Primate monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle until the end of your opponent's turn. Then, if you control no monsters, you can special summon one of the declared monsters directly from your deck in defense position, which is a great ability to instantly bring out the exact card that you need. We then play 3 copies of Lordy Load. Lordy Load is a searcher for our Primac cards and also has the ability when this card is activated, you can add any Primac card you want from your deck to your hand, and then has the ability you can declare a normal monster card's name to special summon one of the declared normal monsters from your hand, deck, or graveyard in defense position, but you cannot activate the effects of special summon monsters on the field this turn, which is the only downside of this card, but since we are playing normal Pendulum, it doesn't come up that much, and it's just a really cool effect to help us bring out a monster to our side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Summoner's Art. Summoner's Art is great as a 3-up because this card is basically roted for the deck. I think it's add any level 5 or higher normal monster from our deck to our hand. We then play 3 copies of Painful Decision. Painful Decision is basically 3 more copies of Rhoda in the deck because we get to send a level 4 or lower normal monster from our deck to the graveyard. And if you do, add a monster with the same name as that card from your deck to your hand, which is a really cool effect to grab the exact card that we need. We then play 3 copies of Heat Wave. Heat Wave is great as a 3-up in the duel because we can basically summon anyways and our opponent can't, which is insane. If you go first and you activate this card, you're probably just going to instantly win the duel, as it has to be this card can only be activated at the start of the main phase 1, and neither player can normal or special summon an effect monster until the end or the next draw phase, which is a really cool effect to be able to use, basically to lock down that entire turn, and to lock down your opponent's entire turn, and then during our next draw phase, effect monsters can be summoned again, which is crazy powerful this card to be able to do to instantly lock down your opponent. Again, if you go first, you're probably going to win the game if this card resolves. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing 3, and that's going to be 3 copies of Tyrant's Throes. This card is really good as a 3-up in the deck, as again, just like your copies of Heat Wave, if this card resolves, you're probably going to instantly win the game. So you activate this card by attributing 2 normal monsters except tokens, and neither player can normal or special summon effect monsters to the field, which is a crazy powerful effect to instantly lock down your opponent. And with this card in Heat Wave, if you go first, you're probably going to instantly win the game, as it's so consistent to draw at least a copy of either Heat Wave or this card in your hand to make sure you're going to instantly win the game and lock down your opponent. So this card is definitely a 3-up in the build. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get in to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with Evil Czar Lars. Lars is definitely a 1-up in the build because it's so easy to make this card using your copy of Fire Opalhead plus Lance to be able to make this card, but you can use any level 6 monsters, even your copy of Dragon Horn Hunter, to be able to make this card, but you always want to make sure that you have a dinosaur monster under this card. As this card is to be able, while this card has a material, your opponent cannot target it with monster effects. Also, when your opponent activates a card effect, quick effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card, or just 1 if all this card's materials are reptile or dinosaur monsters, and then target a face-up card that your opponent draws and negates effects until the end of the turn. So make sure you do use your dinosaur monsters to make this card. With my single copy of Baguska, Baguska is really good in the deck to be able to play because it's just a really good card to slow down the game, just in case you need to. So this card is amazing in the build. With my single copy of Chaos Angel, Chaos Angel is great in the deck. So we play light and dark monsters in the deck. So this card is very easy to make in this build because you don't even have to use a tuner to make this card. But if you use light and dark monsters, it gains some really cool abilities, plus it Spire moves card off the field when it's summoned to your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Ignister. Ignister is great in the deck as a 1-up, because you can use your copy of Magical Libra to make this card, and it's great to be able to summon because it lets you target a Pendulum monster on the field, or 1 card in your Pendulum zone, and destroy it if you shovel a card on the field back in the deck, non-targeting, which is such a powerful ability to be able to use. And also, once per turn, you can special summon a Draco Slayer monster from your deck in defense position, but it cannot be used as a single material for a summon, which is not that big of a deal. With my single copy of Tilting Entrainment, this card is really cool as a 1 on the deck for our Pendulum monsters. As if this card is synchro summon, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Pendulum monster from your hand or face up from your X deck, and at the start of the damage step, when this card or a Pendulum monster battles an opponent's monster, but that monster is not destroyed by battle, you can destroy that opponent's monster, which is such a cool effect. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code is just really good overall in the deck to help you pop multiple cards on the field and help you go in for game. Plus it comes out absolutely massive. We then play a single copy of Draco Masters. Draco Masters is really cool in this deck as a 1-up. Deal summon that to your side of the field because of its downwards arrows, and it also works with normal monsters. It cannot be destroyed by battle with an effect monster, and if you control no effect monsters that other than this card, destroy effect monsters your opponent controls up to the number of non-effect monsters that you control and or in your graveyard, which is a great effect. We'll make a single copy of Heat Soul. Heat Soul is very easy to summon in this build because you basically just make Link Spider plus your copy of IP and then link them away for this card. So every turn you're drawing a card so you can Pendulum summon out a bunch of monsters to your side of the field. Plus it has 2 downwards pointing arrows, which is pretty good. We then play a single copy of Hita. Hita is really good to help you link climb, and it's just really good overall in this deck. We then play a single copy of SP. SP is great as a double interruption against the opponent. Play a single copy of Defender of the Labyrinth. This card works really well with normal monsters, and as you build non-effect monsters you control gain 500 attack. Also, all effect monsters your opponent control lose 500 attack points. And if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can actually target a non-effect monster in the graveyard and special summon it, which is a great effect to be able to use, and I love this card in the deck. We then play a single copy of Land. Land is also really good to help you make your copy of Heat Soul because this card just requires any 2 monsters to make it, plus it's a normal monster. We then play a single copy of IP. IP is amazing in this build as 1-up to be able to summon out to your side of the field, as you can use your normal monsters to make this card and then basically just link climb into the other cards that you need. We then play 2 copies of Link Spider. Link Spider is just so good in this deck to be able to use because it helps us summon out cards like Heat Soul and also helps us bring out additional monsters in our hand just in case we don't have the arrows or we don't have the Pendulum summons to be able to make them. We can bring them out to our side of the field by basically just summoning out one to our side of the field, then linking it away, and then summoning out another level 4 lower normal monster from our hand, which is such a cool effect to a zone this card points to. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is so fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a normal Pendulum deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's so fun to be able to play, and it's insane how powerful this deck is. It's an amazing deck to be able to just summon out all sorts of awesome monsters to your side of the field and help you go in for game. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.